Well, welcome to episode
memories,
25,
memories.
Malapert Smarks Wrestling Podcast. If for you audio podcast listeners out there, if there are any, the three of us were just watching a clip from August 20th, 2021, a shade over 2 years ago now. It's a little bit over 2 years when CM Punk made his debut in AEW, and man, still gives me chills. What a pop. It was a great moment, but it is over now. The CM Punk experiment at AEW has ended. He's been fired as of Saturday, September 2nd. We're recording today on September 8th, so that was a few days ago now. The news has been hot for about 6 days, and, it's getting a little cooler, but, we haven't talked about it yet. So we want to talk about the most important news of the week. CM Punk is gone. So let's just jump straight into it. We got Vlad, the wrestling expert. We got Robert on today. Roberto W, his handle on social medias. Go at him. And so let's just jump right into it. Vlad, you go first. What was your reaction when you heard CM Punk got fired?
Well, okay, well, hold on. Let me back up a little bit. I think I kind of broke the news to you guys, or maybe not. I don't know.
You did for me, for sure.
Yeah, you did. That was the first time I heard it.
I was just kind of going through, my whatever phone stuff and just looking up stuff, and all of a sudden, I see on CM Punk fired by AEW, and I'm like, what? Is that for real? So I click on the link, whatever, I read it. Anyways, yeah, I mean, obviously it ended up being all true, but as far as my thoughts, I mean, initially surprise, and then more of acceptance and anger and all the things that you kind of do when you're in denial, right? Isn't that all the steps of denial? But you kind of accept it in the end because you kind of see the company for what it is, and you kind of expect things like this to happen. So I'm not going to go too crazy about all that, because it was probably the best thing for all parties that they split, because they just didn't mesh well chemistry wise. They just two different there's different personalities in modern wrestling to the way Punk was brought up, and you can't bridge that gap, unfortunately. So, and there's no way to do it, So, yeah, that's it.
Obviously,
it was raucous. Let me just finish. It was raucous. It was a raucous 2 years, but it ended prematurely. Could have gone on longer, but I think at the end of it, it's for the best for both that they just split.
Well, look, they tried really hard to keep it together. They kind of went out of their way to try to keep this together. Well, let me hear Robert's. What was your first reaction to this too?
I was a little surprised. I mean, I thought the worst that was going to happen was you'd be suspended for a while. I didn't expect him to be fired. Yeah, so my reaction was more like disappointed, because there were a lot of potential feuds that I was really excited for. A third match with MJF would have been awesome. A feud with Jay White would have been really cool, or if whether CM Punk turned heel or Adam Cole turned heel, I think a CM Punk Adam Cole feud would have been really good too. And then of course the feud with Ricky Starks never finished. So I think it's a shame. There were a lot of really great potential feuds. He could have rekindled his rivalry with Bryan Danielson. That would have been another option there. And I don't know,
making me sad, Robert. You're making me sad.
Sorry. I'm just, I was thinking of all the potential that that was basically thrown away by his firing. Like, man. Oh,
yes.
Sucks.
Disappointing to say the least, because like I said, they did give it a very good chance. Like most people would have fired him last year after his outburst at All Out 2022. But they really went out of their way to separate the rosters, give him his own show, and it was all so much effort to just get thrown away just like that. You know what? I've had enough. Let's talk about Tony Khan and how he announced the firing on Collision. you know, everything he said about what happened that day. We all know, we've all heard it by now that he was scared for his life is the big buzzword, and he was scared for the safety of his coworkers. Robert, you buy any of that, or is that all just legal mumbo jumbo? What do you think?
I didn't buy any of that. I think it's mostly legal mumbo jumbo. I don't think he was really afraid of the safety of or the well-being of the wrestlers backstage. Like, come on, they can handle themselves. I don't think he was really that worried about it. So I didn't buy that personally.
Yeah, well, there is a faction of people who we just don't know Tony Khan that well. He's new to us. He's not on TV that much. We don't know him personally, so it is possible that it could be true. But Vlad, what is your gut feeling? Is Tony Khan afraid for his life, or was that just a way to kind of get out of CM Punk's contract without paying him?
I mean, he's probably exaggerating it more than it needs to be just to get out of the contract and to make it, I guess, a little bit more palatable to the fans of why it had to happen, whether people agreed with it or not. Obviously, they're making it sound like Punk had a shotgun or something and was ready to shoot up the locker room or something that he feared for his life. Just sounds insane. I mean, it was a scuffle that he had with another wrestler, which has happened in almost every wrestling locker room for the past, 80, 90, 100 years, probably. So I think it's what you guys are kind of saying. It's more maybe for the legality reasons, for reasons that have to do with maybe whatever he has to pay to Punk, or maybe doesn't want to pay to Punk, and knowing that there probably will be some sort of lawsuit that will come from that. Who knows? But yeah, probably more.
I've heard it bantied about. I listened to Jim Cornette talk about it. This is where I heard this from, and it was he was a little skeptical about why he actually went out there and made this announcement himself, because it kind of just either if it was true, it made him look like a little bit of a. I don't know what's the word, a nice word to use here, but,
a scaredy cat.
A scaredy cat. Thank you, Vlad. Thank you. The PG version. He's either going to make himself look like a weak scaredy cat, or he's going to look like he's obviously trying to cover his ass and say bullshit things to get CM Punk out and get out of the contract. Because, man, we've all seen CM Punk fight for real. No one's afraid of CM Punk. So that's kind of hard to believe. But look, so let's talk about some of the ramifications of this for the company, because this was a little bit of a power struggle for the past year between some of the old guys, the older generation, who were butting heads with the younger guys, i.e. Young Bucks, Jungle Boy, guys who don't want to take advice and want to do their wrestling their way, despite how it affects the rest of the show. Is that war over now since Punk is gone?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he was the leader of the other side, right? So when you fire the leader of the other side, it pretty much is over.
So Collision will become Dynamite, basically. Since Punk is out of the way, we don't have to worry about this.
Yeah, I think so.
It's kind of
I think it's going to end the brand split, and everybody will just be wrestling on both shows, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. But if it's going to be just another Dynamite, it's a bad thing, But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, it ends that aspect of things, but it has bigger ramifications. I mean, CM Punk was the one of the few legit stars, marquee names in the company, and to have that be the first person that Tony Khan actually fires from this company is. Ooh, man, it's a tough thing to actually take and actually believe, but it is what it is. I said, it is what it is.
Robert, I'm seeing you with a look on your face like you're deep in thought a little bit. Is the feud between the elite and the older generation guys, is that over? The elite win?
I don't know about over, but it has definitely tilted toward their favor, the elite's favor, for sure. It's they have the upper hand at the moment. That's hard to say. But I also do agree that Collision is probably going to be more like Dynamite from now on.
Well, good. That means we got to review Collision too. So I don't know if it's completely over. The fact that Danielson is there
Yeah,
is a little bit.
that's why I'm not. I was saying that I don't think it's like real. It's over,
Yeah,
but it has tilted toward the elite's favor.
yeah, but they do have Danielson over there on Collision. It looks like he's going to be having a major role now to carry the mantle that Punk was trying to carry. One more question. I had one more question. There's a theory floating around that I've heard from a few people that CM Punk did this to try to get out of his contract, get fired, so he could leave the WWE. You think there's any truth to that, Vlad? You see that being possible? Dutch Mantel said this. I heard this from Dutch, if you want me to
Sure,
give my
Dutch.
source.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, anything is possible. We know that he didn't get along with many people in that company, and we know that he wants to go back to the WWE because it's been proven already with AEW within the last, whatever they've been as a company since they formed, like, what is it, 4 or 5 years now, that they are a second-rate company. I'm sorry. Anybody that sees it differently, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. They've proved it a number of different ways by staying in their indie mindset. So, with that said, yes, he probably wants to go back to WWE, and I don't know if he's going to be able to go back to WWE because I'm sure he burned some bridges there too. But it's that would be the best place for him because there's a lot of potential feuds for him there too. I think I could see him a feud with him and Cody would be amazing. Like, for example, but I mean, I don't know. Yes, but to answer your question, yes, it is possible because he hated it there so much that he maybe forced their hand. So
do you see him possibly going back to WWE? Can they mend the bridges? I'll ask Robert the same thing after you're done.
I hope so. Punk is, not an easy guy to get along with. That is the truth.
But he's a major star that they could take away, who had a fight with everybody in AEW and, was a badass guy who didn't take shit from anyone, had the title at the end, could claim to be the real world champion. So he's got value.
Believe it or not, I think, I could be wrong. I really don't know the mindset, but I think if it's up to Vince, he would do it. But I think Triple H has some more reservations. So, I just think we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think Vince is all about business, and he will, if he thinks it's going to be a star. But Triple H probably has there were some negative things that Punk said about Triple H personally. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, Robert, do you think there's any chance CM Punk got himself fired on purpose to try to go to WWE? And at this point, now that he's fired, do you think there's a chance he could end up in WWE?
So it's funny that Vlad mentioned Vince, because my answer to that question is Vince McMahon's theme music. I know you guys are familiar.
No chance in hell. No chance in hell.
No chance. There's no chance in hell. I really don't think so. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, some people just say this is the end of CM Punk's wrestling career. Although I could see him go to New Japan, Although those guys are friends with AEW, so maybe they'll want to kind of keep that relationship by not touching CM Punk, but I don't know. I am sure Impact would take him, but they probably don't have more than $500 a night to give him. So I don't think he would take it.
Wow.
Okay, what was I going to say about this? So my reaction to the CM Punk firing. I feel bad for CM Punk personally. Like, it kind of sucks being a guy that has a reputation like this and nobody wants to be around him. Doesn't that kind of... Imagine you were him, dude. Like, literally, all the companies are like, no, man, we'd rather just not have anything to do with you. kind of sad, man. His personality, his attitude, I don't know if I want to go so far as to call it, like, a disorder, because that's kind of, like, insulting. But he definitely has some kind of, like, anger management issue going on where he can't let things go, and it gets him... his emotions too boiling to the point where he can't handle himself. And that kind of sucks, like, and in addition to that, it kind of seemed to me like everyone was trying to, like, nudge him to do something. Like, here's another conspiracy theory I've heard. speaking of conspiracy theories, I heard a conspiracy theory that they were trying to fuck with him so much, the Elite and, I guess Jack Perry, who's friends with them, came in together all, from that generation. I heard this theory that some of the guys were trying to screw with him to the point where he would react and try to get him fired that way. So I think that could be true. Like, why were they trying to mess with him? Like, everything was kind of like blown over from last year. Everyone was working together, but people couldn't let it go. The Young Bucks couldn't let it go. As we've seen on Collision, they were kind of like really, or on Dynamite, they were celebrating CM Punk's firing. They took a victory lap, right, around the ring is what I heard after the show. So, yeah, they never let it go. I think they had it out for Punk. I think they didn't like this direction that the company was going with Collision and people liking it. It's possible that they kind of set him up. So I think that's possible. Another thing I want to say about Punk is that possibly because of his anger issues, he needs to, like, kind of ease up on this straight edge thing. Like, have a drink, buddy. Calm down. Honestly, man, like, I have the same issue. I get angry sometimes. Like, I know alcohol is not good for you, and I go long stretches trying not to drink because I know it's not the best for your health and you're not productive on it and all that. But, dude, after about 2 or 3 weeks of being sober, like, I'm climbing the walls. Anyone that rubs me the wrong way, like, I want to fight with them, and I gotta go have a couple drinks, and that'll, like, kind of settle me. Like, all right, yeah, life isn't so bad. So this is my theory about CM Punk. He's been sober so long consecutively that he's kind of gone psychotic, maybe.
That's funny.
Well, it is a theory, but what about people that also don't drink and they don't end up being a psychotic?
Hey, everybody's different. All I'm saying is that I can relate to Punk and his personality. I see similarities in myself, and sometimes when I have a drink, it kind of just makes me feel a little different. Like, all right, you know what? Maybe I should just let it go. All right, that wasn't so important, but you gotta have like something to change your mindset sometimes. Smoke a J, do something, I don't know. He just seemed like he was always on edge, always ready to fight at any drop of a dime, anybody saying anything to him. But that's my thoughts about it. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for us, obviously, as Robert mentioned, all the possible feuds we could have had that we were waiting for, that we were very patiently waiting for. He got injured twice. He got suspended. And
so I just want to confirm with Robert. Robert, do you think this is the end of CM Punk's wrestling career? This is the way it goes out. He goes out getting fired by AEW.
I think so.
Because you said there's no chance he's going back to the WWE. You quoted Vince.
Because I feel like he's burned way too many bridges over there.
I agree.
There a lot of the top stars and Triple H, they just don't like him. So yeah,
I think
all right.
There's a lot of people there that don't. That is true. So it would have to be like a turnaround of some sorts by those people to welcome him back. So we'll see. I mean, I hope he does come back, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't because of the reasons we just said.
My guess, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think he'll end up back in WWE, and I think he'll accept whatever they give him, as long as it's somewhat respectable. Like, we don't know why he quit last time. I heard the rumor that he wasn't going to be WrestleMania main event, and that's why he got mad and left. That's unreasonable, though. If you want to be the man all the time, yeah, you're not going to be the man. But if they're going to put him in mid-card feuds against other, like, decent wrestlers, then I think that's okay. You should just roll with that, just so he can have a job and make some money. But I don't know, like, Robert, I don't know if you said you were going to say something. I don't know exactly why he left WWE.
He went on a podcast with his well, it's not his friend anymore, but what's his name?
Colt Cabana.
Yeah, Colt Cabana. He went on Colt Cabana's podcast, and I think it was like almost an hour-long explanation. Like he gave a very thorough explanation as to why he left. There was a lot of like medical issues that he was dealing with, and then WWE was like not handling it correctly. That was like one of the major reasons. But I forgot the other reasons, but like he gave a very thorough explanation as to why, and it made sense. I think you should check it out if you have time.
Yeah, it was a combination of what you just said, and I think some problems with his booking. But
Yeah.
you know, at the end of, and I think also that he's a very confrontational person. I think it's a combination of all three things. You know, WWE does at that time, especially all those. I mean, probably even now, they have a very grueling schedule. You know, I could see how you could want to take time off, or maybe they don't want to give you time off. You know, things like that could happen. But you know, yeah.
All right. Well, look, if anybody has anything else that you think I missed about it, or if you have any other thought about it, you can say it now or forever hold your peace, because we're never going to talk about CM Punk.
Well, let me just ask
again.
this: is this? I mean, I said this is a good thing for both parties, but is this? I mean, I think it's gonna be fine for Punk. He'll make do, whether he goes back to wrestling or not. I don't think he's gonna starve.
But it does suck for him, you know.
Sure, in a sense it does. But what about for AEW? Is this the end of them possibly being a legitimate company in your guys' eyes? I know that Kayhan usually asks the question, but let me just throw that out there.
No, yeah, that's great, bro. Go ahead. How about you, Robert? You go first. I'll go after you.
If it wasn't for the rise of MJF and his popularity, I would have said yes. But I think MJF right now is doing a lot to carry the company. So at the time being, I think they're okay. They'll be just fine, and they have other stars too that they could build. So I don't know. They definitely, the firing of CM Punk, that's definitely AEW has definitely taken a hit, but I don't think that means the end of AEW.
Yeah, right when it happened, I was like, damn, this is going to really suck for AEW. This could be I saw them losing like at least a chunk of viewership, and Collision really suffered, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. It was a weird show, but yeah, they had all that drama and everything, so that's understandable. Dynamite, I thought, picked up, and there were some positive signs. And at the pay-per-view, the fact that Danielson and Starks, they got Starks. When we're going to review these shows a little bit later, this past week's shows, Collision and Dynamite, and I saw some positive signs. I think it can work. I think it could still work, and maybe if Punk was really that much of a headache and they can just like fucking get him out of the way and focus, okay, fine. It's possible. It's possible that they could still do good work. Like the Samoa Joe stuff with MJF. It's like, yeah, life moves on. Punk is gone. Let's plug Samoa Joe in there, and he did freaking great. And the fact that I hear that Danielson is one of the creative minds or bookers or one of the guys in charge of Collision, I think that's a really good sign. Tony Khan has said, like, if anything happens to me, if I get hit by a bus, Danielson can do the job and control the show and not saying I'm hoping that'll happen, but but I think that's a good sign. Having Danielson in the company is really good. It would have been good if Punk was there too, but they still got something. Like, they got really lucky for All Out, because as we're going to see, like, Danielson kind of took one of the main event spots against Starks, and he saved their ass, because otherwise it would have been a kind of a shitty show, I think. So no, I mean, at first, Vlad, yes, I did think that. But now that I've seen a few shows, I kind of have some hope that I think we could still enjoy wrestling, personally. So that's that.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
Well, that's the CM Punk deep dive into the CM Punk firing. We're going to file that away into the archives, and we'll see if we ever talk about Punk again. I hope it's not the end, but we'll see. All right, moving along. I was actually going to start the show with this one instead, because I think it was more important news, but, I thought you guys were going to riot. But I was going to start with Orange Cassidy losing the international title to Jon Moxley, because
I'm leaving.
So the streak ends. The Orange Cassidy streak is over. He lost to Jon Moxley at the All Out main event. Moxley, he said he wasn't going to target his hand or any body part, but he targeted his soul, to destroy his soul. And I had to see it with my own eyes to believe it, but Moxley basically beat the fuck out of Orange Cassidy, and he put him down for the 3 count after a merciless beating of just Orange Cassidy took a lot a lot of damage. But I was watching it with my dad, and my dad was very impressed with Orange Cassidy. He was like, look how he sells, look how he acts, like He's in pain at least. You see, I'm with that. With the gimmick and everything, I see that it's silly. But the work, if you took the gimmick away, I think isn't so bad. At least he sells, personally. But yeah, here's some more of the merciless beatdown for to see how much damage he had to take to finally end him. And Orange Cassidy, in true Orange Cassidy fashion, gave him the middle finger before he finally took his final damage and finished him off. So that was the end. Now that his historical run of 31 consecutive victories is over, we have to get your thoughts about this monumental achievement. Vlad, you go first. Give us your thoughts about this.
I have to talk about this? Okay. I will do my best to be professional. I'm a professional. Okay, hold on. Hold on, let me try. Woosa. Okay.
Wow.
Okay,
hard?
no,
Okay.
no, it is hard. It is hard because this is Kayhan is trying to legitimize this guy, but this guy is still a joke. Okay, I don't know what to say. I mean, he kicked out of everything. He finally lost, but after taking every type of beating you could possibly take and kick out of every move you could possibly kick out of, like every single match that he has had, all these wins, he gets his ass kicked, gets every finisher put on him, kicks out of everything, and then wins on a roll-up. This time they didn't do that, but okay, whatever. Like, does anyone care? You can't just say, well, yeah, sure, the gimmick is silly. No, the gimmick is insulting. It's not just silly. There's plenty of silly gimmicks. This is an insulting, ridiculous gimmick that makes it impossible to even pay attention to his wrestling, whether it's good or bad. I think his wrestling is okay. I don't think he's great or good. I think he's just okay. He's not any worse or any better than some of these other indie guys. But the gimmick is way too indie to succeed on a national level and to be considered a legitimate wrestler. That's the bottom line. That's where the whole thing falls apart for me. Like, it's just too ridiculous and too silly and too. That's what I say. This company's stuck in the indies. They're an indie company with a major TV deal, and which is the first time, the first like it, I think, because TNA was not an indie company in no shape or form for the most part. This is a complete indie company with a TV deal. If this is your main event, not to mention this was your main event. You're putting him on the main event of every pay-per-view. Right, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you a question. Let me interrupt you for a second, because you said, because when the All-In main event happened and it was MJF and Adam Cole and they stayed friends and how silly their storyline was with them being friends, you said it doesn't matter what I think because it's over with the crowd. And at All Out, Orange Cassidy was over with the crowd. So what's the difference?
Okay, well, there's a section of the crowd that's always going to root for anything in AEW. I'm talking about the majority of wrestling fans. Even the majority of wrestling fans will like MJF and Adam Cole, whether it had comedic elements or not. Most wrestling fans are not going to like Orange Cassidy. There's a section that will, because they will like anything AEW and they want the company to succeed despite the product they put out there. Which I understand supporting it, but there's also, you got to criticize if you want it to improve, and they just refuse to do that. They'll just cheer anything that happens there. Like it's like a cult. Literally, there's a cult at that point, because instead of like saying, "Hey, fix this, let's get this going," they're like, "Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing." No, that's actually the worst thing you could possibly do for a character like Orange Cassidy. If you want to have a legitimate chance of ever doing anything, as far as being the second company, well, or even ever overcoming somehow and becoming the first, which I think is never going to happen now. But yeah, things like this are just, it's death. It's death. So that's all I got to say.
All right, Robert, you want to give us your thoughts about Orange Cassidy's 31 match winning streak that just ended?
I'm glad it's over.
Really? You're with Vlad?
Yeah, but hold on. I want to. I do want to add, like, I really enjoyed this match, actually.
Yes, I did too.
I thought it was really good.
I thought this was so good too.
Yes, and
personally, I mean, if you're gonna end a streak of somebody who's like, been unbeatable like this, it kind of made sense that he had to get beaten down so hard to lose this finally.
And then I was gonna say it made. I know you guys don't like John Moxley, but to me it made sense that Moxley would be the guy to beat him because he was the AEW World Champion for quite a while.
Well, sure, yeah,
so,
he should have beat him.
If there was gonna be somebody that could beat, or the one unbeatable guy so far, Orange Cassidy, it should have been John Moxley. But yeah, this was a very entertaining match. I know I talk a lot of crap about Orange Cassidy. I thought he did well in this match, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. At the same time, I'm glad the run is over. So there's my thoughts.
It honestly, it grew on me. It started to grow on me at some point, like when it got to like 21, 22, it was so ridiculous that I just started rolling with it. Yeah, and I kind of just had a good time with it personally.
Yeah,
I was curious to see how the fuck it was gonna end, and I liked it. I liked that match.
I think it's also kind of hilarious that Orange Cassidy. When Orange Cassidy finally lost, it was around the same time that he finally got a catchphrase. I do not have a catchphrase.
Oh, that he doesn't have a catchphrase.
That's his catchphrase, is that he doesn't have one.
But that is a catchphrase.
Yeah, no, ironically, that's his catchphrase, that he doesn't have one.
It's very ironic, yes. I get it. But I was going to say that, yes. I was going to mention it later on that he says he doesn't have one, but he does. So he's a liar. Anyways, all right, let's move along with the show. We got a lot to talk about. I'll try to speed through some things. Some things I'll just mention later on. I'll list through them, and if you guys want to jump in with everything, but I'm not going to ask for thoughts about literally everything that happened in the past week. But what do we have? So let's go to Smackdown from September 1st, which is a week ago as of right now. And we didn't talk about this on last week's show, but John Cena returned. And he said he's going to be around for a while. So I don't know if you guys are happy about that or you don't really care. I mean, I wasn't really the biggest John Cena fan when he was around. You know, considering there's less star power now than there used to be, like, it's kind of nice. But, you know, I don't know. It's nice. It's okay. He's definitely very serviceable. But it doesn't really matter to me either way if John Cena's around. If anyone has any thoughts.
You might not care, but I'm sure the networks care, and and things like that, and SmackDown cares. But I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Roman Reigns is just not there a lot. He's there once in a while, and it helps to have a big name, at least for a stretch, while you can have him, while you can use him. You might as well put a star out there, because whether you like John Cena as a wrestler or not doesn't really. Doesn't really matter, because he is known as a star. He's now gone to Hollywood. He's known. He's done some stuff, and he still has his WWE roots. So I think it's good that he's there. At least, I mean, I don't know what he's going to be a part of, what he's going to be doing, but as far as just having him there is probably a boost as far as ratings and things of that nature.
Are you excited for Cena, Robert, or you're indifferent?
So, it's funny because he did show up on SmackDown, but I actually thought he was more entertaining on Raw when we couldn't see him.
Yes.
there you go. That's my punchline.
That was freaking hilarious, dude. I thought that scene. We could just talk about that now if you want, because we are. I mean,
we're skipping around. However you want to do it, Ken.
We are skipping around today, but we could move on to a little bit of this John Cena feud with. He entered the Miz feud with LA Knight, I guess, is the background to that scene that Robert brought up, and so this was an interesting match. I thought there was some interesting interactions between LA Knight and Cena, so I thought that was kind of good to put LA Knight in there with the big star and let him have a moment. But in the end, LA Knight wins, and he racks up another W after he couldn't buy a win for like months. Now he's like winning nonstop. So before we talk about that scene on Raw, any thoughts on LA Knight's recent strong booking? You guys happy with this? It's what we wanted, right? Robert, you go first.
That's my answer. Yeah, I'm happy with this.
That's it.
I mean, look, the fans are behind him, so why not? Let's keep the push going. And I find him to be entertaining, so no problems on my side on this push.
Vlad, you happy with LA Knight's push? Is it going well?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, he's part of. I mean, I know you would think like a feud with The Miz, like okay, but he's involved with Cena a bit, and that kind of helped the legitimacy of this thing, believe it or not. So I think it's a step in the right direction. I think they're pushing him along, and I think with WWE not really having a lot of great personalities, a lot of characters, I think LA Knight is refreshing in that sense. So yes, I agree with the push. They should. And the reaction. I mean, the biggest thing is the crowd reaction. So, yes, let's keep it going.
So the scene that Robert's talking about on the ensuing Raw where the Miz introduced John Cena, and it totally made sense. We can't see him. And they did the whole, the camera was, running after him the way they usually do, as if he was there.
Yeah.
Which was freaking...
this is brilliant.
And then... So since we listen to podcasts, so we listen to Jim Cornette's podcast, Robert, me and Vlad do. We're big fans. Oh. And he always talks about how Kenny Omega and these Japanese guys have wrestled the Invisible Man on the Indies or in Japan. And he thinks that's such an insult. Blow-up dolls and Invisible Men. And he thinks that's such an insult to wrestling. But here's a scene where The Miz actually wrestles an Invisible Man that you can't see. But in this case,
he kind of wrestles him. Yeah, he does wrestle him.
He does. He literally does. He does moves on him.
He puts his finisher on him. Yeah.
Yeah. If I could skip to that, just so you guys could see, but I mean, this is what happens. I've seen a match, the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan, where the referee just kind of is kind of letting us know what happened. But this to me was kind of genius. Robert, you brought it up. You want to get some thoughts about this?
I gotta give The Miz some props, man. This is the second Raw in a row where he's just been way too entertaining. Yeah. First the impersonation of LA Knight, and then now this going up against an invisible John Cena. Love it. Good job, Miz.
Vlad, was this genius or is this an insult to wrestling?
I think the week before where he was LA Knight, I like that more. This is a little bit more complicated in the sense, my opinion is a little bit more complicated in the sense that I don't know if I liked it or if I just thought it was stupid as hell. I'm kind of in between. I do like that he has The Miz has a creative mind, and if used properly, he can be really good. I've always felt that way, to believe it or not. He's just always being used as a laughingstock most of the time. So it's I'm glad they're kind of using him well because, like I said, he is creative and he can do things and he can be entertaining and things like that. So this, I don't know. I'm going back and I don't know. I can't. If somebody liked it, great. And if somebody thought it was one of the worst things in wrestling, okay too, because I'm somewhere in the middle of that. And I don't know. But Kayhan, you also thought that this was genius, I think.
It only worked because John Cena has the "you can't see me" gimmick. So the fact that we couldn't see him was amusing. So that's the only reason why it sort of made sense. Otherwise, if they just did this for no reason, it would have been an insult to wrestling. But I thought it was a good joke to play on the crowd that they were expecting to see Cena and wasn't there. So I thought that segment.
But do you think he took it too far when he started taking off his coat and it started he threw him out of the ring and then put his finisher? I mean,
I don't think so.
Where he was interviewing him and he wasn't there. We got that part. That's part of the joke. But then when he started actually fighting this invisible John Cena, did that become? You don't think that was already too much at that
Maybe
point?
That was just him losing his mind. Cena's gotten in his head so much this past week.
Well, that's what. What's his name? Not. Oh my God. Michael Cole was saying, right? Oh. Or was it? Who was it?
Corey Graves.
No. Who's the one now on? Wade Barrett. I'm sorry. That's what.
Is Wade Barrett on Raw now? I thought he was on SmackDown. Or I got it the other way?
They switched it up. Yeah, they switched. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice. I don't know why. But anyways, okay.
Shows you how much you care about the announcers on WWE TV.
I usually do. I love Wade Barrett. I love Booker T. I think Corey Graves probably my least favorite one, but he's still good too. But yeah, okay. I don't know. I guess I wasn't paying attention that hard this episode. But anyways, let's move along. We got Jimmy Uso is back around. So this was on, speaking of John Cena again, another thing. He's involved with like everything. So when Cena was out to make his debut on SmackDown, Jimmy Uso came out. And, I kind of like this angle of him being like stubborn and insisting that he made the right decision for Jay, for the good of Jay, even though the people like think it's really stupid. He's gonna like stick to his guns, and he's gonna start. He turned heel. This was his way to turn heel. My opinion is that I think it was a bad ending to the Jey Uso Roman Reigns feud. That was it kind of fell flat because of that. But Jimmy Uso coming out as a heel out of it, and the reason for it, I think is kind of funny, and I think it's good. I think this is kind of cool for Jimmy personally. You guys got any thoughts about that, Robert, or no?
I pretty much agree with you. I don't really have much more to add to that. I did thought that was pretty crazy what John Cena said at the end.
Oh yeah, the wrong Uso
quit. I was like, eh.
I guess.
Oh,
I mean, I don't think he really feels that way about Jimmy. I think this is just for the angle, but okay.
Sure.
Vlad, you get any thoughts about what I just said about Jimmy Uso, or you're not caring about this?
I am trying to care about this, but having him like again explain why he did it a second time, like, dude, we already got why you did it. It was dumb the first time. You don't have to tell us why you did it again. And then like what happens later on SmackDown where he's like joining back the bloodline. Once looks like he does want to. I don't even know what the heck he's doing or what they're even trying to go with that. But all right, so I kind of care, but I don't really care. At the end of it.
Well, another thing I liked from this SmackDown episode was the scene where Jimmy Uso busts in on Mia Yim and like insults her. It's like, was anybody talking to you? And then Mia Yim got offended and went to the Good Brothers and was like, we got to do something. They're like, dude, let it go. And AJ Styles came out and he's like, what? He disrespected you. We can't just let that go. I love this for AJ. I'm just happy to see AJ in anything. But I thought that was pretty amusing, personally. I had to give it a shout out. But yeah, it's not a big deal or a big angle, but I liked it. Moving along. I'm going to move on to... Give me 1 second to load the next clip. Vlad, do something funny. I'm kidding. You don't have to do anything funny.
Should I make faces? Should I make like weird faces? What am I? Am I a clown? Am I here to amuse you?
All right, let's move on to Judgment Day. Thank you for that, Vlad. Let's move on to Judgment Day, who are newly bolstered by winning the Undisputed Tag Team titles from Sammy and KO at Payback. And also bolstered by J.D. McDonough's incredible gift to Senor Money in the Bank. The new briefcase looks really snazzy. I thought that was nice. Like they were kind of rejecting him as a friend, but he brought a nice gift, and they were like, "That's cool." So they might let him in now. I think that's good. But Judgment Day are they looked down in the dumps for a while, but it looks like they got it all together now, man. Look at that. That looks nice. That's pretty good. So we gave them a lot of flack in recent weeks for being kind of looking bad, doing stupid things, and they certainly were doing stupid things, except for Rhea. She was always, strong. But what do you make of this group now that their fortunes have turned? Vlad, you go first. You're the guy who's been saying that, you thought their run was over, that they were going to break up.
I mean, I think it still will lead to that, but it's probably long-term booking. I don't know when that's going to happen. But I think, well, this was like a must-win. It was like a 5-on-2 match, basically. It was nobody there to help out
Yeah, no Cody.
No Cody, for some reason, didn't step in. He was there. He could have helped them out. He's been kind of with them.
Was he there?
That would have made...
Did he have a match on Payback? I don't think he did.
He didn't have a match, but he had that interview with Grayson Waller or whatever the hell that was.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I mean, if they were ever going to win the titles, it had to have been in this type of match. Because obviously they've already been proven they can't beat them in a straight, like, regular match. It has to have been like a no DQ, anything goes, crazy type of stuff happening where it's a 5-on-2. So I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it because I've said before that I kind of was tired of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with the titles because I thought they've been really boring as champions. I thought very mediocre run as champions. I mean, nothing really sticks out since they won those titles at WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Robert, were you surprised to see a title change there at Payback?
No, because Judgment Day really needed that win.
Needed it bad.
They needed it. They needed it bad because they were taking way too many L's. So something had to happen. A reversal of fortune had to eventually happen. So it finally did.
All right. That's Judgment Day news for you. Let's move along. We got more to talk about. Let's talk about since Jimmy Uso showed up on SmackDown, Jey Uso showed up on Raw. So I guess that's what they do with these wrestlers who their feud ends with Roman and they don't win the title because they got screwed over, and they just go to Raw so they could be like separated from it, right? So he joins Raw. The locker room was very uneasy about it. The storyline was that he was a former Bloodline member. Like, we can't just accept him as like a cool guy, And some people were trying to vouch for him, and in the end, Dominic Mysterio said, I feel you, man. I've had family issues too. So he invited him to join the Judgment Day. genuinely offers him a spot. He says, you're welcome in our family. Yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about Jey Uso on Raw, Vlad?
Yeah, I can't say I'm like excited about it, but I think Jay's trying and he's doing as best he can with whatever angle they've got cooked up here with him. I don't know if it's where it's gonna lead to, if it's gonna be with like who he's gonna end up feuding with, how he's gonna get back to fighting with his brother or that whole bloodline stuff that's going on SmackDown. But somehow it will happen. We know that. So I guess they're just buying the time until that. He's not joining the Judgment Day. That would be just ridiculous booking. That would be insane. So that's not going to happen. I don't know. I mean, I think Jay's a good talent. I just don't know if there's anything really exciting for him to really be doing on Raw specifically. That's it.
Robert, what about you? You got any excitement for Jey Uso joining the Raw roster?
No, not really. I'm kind of on the same boat as Vlad in this case. But I do want to say one thing with that segment with Dominic. This is the first time I can remember in a very long time where I could actually hear more than 2 words come out of Dominic's mouth before he gets drowned out by boos from the crowd. I'm like, I could hear him say a whole sentence now. That's interesting. I haven't heard that in a while.
Good point. Good point.
I just had to point that out. But I don't really have any feelings regarding Jay coming to Raw. But we'll see how it plays out.
I don't know why you think that this is somehow going to end up with him going back to SmackDown, or I think they're just separating him. I think it's over. I think it's just going to be a singles guy now, be on his own. Vlad.
But I don't think he can. I know that his nickname is Main Event Jey Uso, but I don't think he actually is a main eventer in that sense. I think he's a main eventer with his brother as a tag team, but as a single, I don't think so.
Man, they sure pushed for that though, for putting him in the main event against Roman. Like that was supposed to make him. He was the winner of that match basically if he didn't get screwed.
Yeah, but nobody actually thought he was gonna win.
I mean,
But still, that makes him a strong character. That's a rub, like, dude, But yeah, even that happened to Drew McIntyre too. That happened to Sami Zayn. I guess it doesn't mean anything that you should have beat Roman. But
I know what you're saying, Kayhan, but I don't agree. I just don't see him in the same. Like, I don't see him as in the main event. I don't see him like comparison with like a Cody Rhodes or even a Gunther. who I think are two like.
I think they're gonna try it, dude. I really think they're gonna try it. I think they're gonna try to make him a main event guy.
Okay. I mean, if it works out and I'm proven wrong, great. I have no ill will at all towards Jey Uso. I think like I said, I think he's a really good talent. I just don't know if he's a main event talent.
All right. Robert, if you don't have anything to say, I'm gonna move on to what am I moving on to? So I kind of mentioned this because in the past week of wrestling, this was kind of a superstar matchup between Raquel Rodriguez and our everybody's favorite, Rhea Ripley. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts about this match. It was a hard-hitting match. Two big girls who looked really strong. You know, there was as if for us podcast listeners, we're watching a couple of the bumps here, not that many, but. I personally thought it was kind of a slow match, personally. I thought everything looked good, but it just kind of wasn't very exciting for me, if that makes any sense. So Rhea ended up winning with interference. Dominic came in and, kind of got in there enough to the point where it was like a distraction and Rhea wins. So you guys have any thoughts about this? Because, maybe I didn't see it, but I didn't really love this match. Robert, did you watch this match?
I did. I watched all of Payback. This was just okay. I wasn't too impressed by it, but it kind of went as I expected it to.
Yeah, I'm glad. Because we were excited for this. We were always saying damn, that's on paper, that's like a good booking. But
it was a solid match. It was fine. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but it's paled in comparison, in my opinion, to the other women's match, which I agree. Which I thought was amazing. Oh, okay. If we are going to talk about it, then we'll save that for if that's what's next, then great.
Yeah. So Trish Stratus, who I've been lauding on my reviews, since her return, since she's been involved with WWE. This feud, honestly, I don't know, kind of. To me was kind of whatever, but Vlad was really into this match, huh?
Oh, it was amazing. I think it was just a great match. It was a great cage match. It had great. I mean, both ladies just worked so hard in this match, and they did so well. And it was some good psychology behind it. There was some weird things at the end that I don't like, which is typical. Like they can't have a perfect WWE match. Like Zoe Starks just being able to enter the cage. What's the point of even having
that
a cage
always
match?
happens. There's no DQ in a cage match, so.
Yeah, but they just opened the door, but she didn't even it wasn't even locked. It's not even
the door's never locked in the cage matches, dude. I think you could.
WWE wrestling, it's not locked in a cage.
Yeah.
In other companies, historically, it has been, but that's my only gripe with it. Otherwise, I think it was phenomenal. I think both did a great job. I knew that the match would not be topped for the rest of the show. I knew it would be the best match on the show because it was so good. And I don't know what else. I mean, I thought it just worked well as a match. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I think Cornette kind of criticized some of it because he just doesn't like women cage matches or whatever.
I don't think he pays that close attention when the women are up there, so he just says something because he has to, He doesn't watch everything in detail.
I disagree with him on the premise that they can't have a cage match. They can, and if it's two women that are same size and same height, why can't they? I mean, I'm fine with it, and I thought this was phenomenal.
Robert, you want to give your review of the Trish-Becky match?
Yeah, so I wanted to start off by saying, Kayhan, I'm kind of disappointed in you right now. You should have started off this segment. There's only one way you should have started off this segment, and it's by saying, "Thank you, Trish."
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. That's what you should have said. So, Trish Stratus, in case you're watching this, let me correct my host's mistake. Thank you, Trish. You did a fantastic.
Man, of course, that goes without saying, Robert. That goes without saying. Of course, we appreciate it.
It goes without
Trish.
saying. Well, we should still be saying it.
Ever since we were kids, we appreciated Trish,
Oh, we definitely did.
No, but great work. I think she does great work in the ring, personally. I mean, I don't think she had that many matches, like when she was back in WWE originally. They didn't have They didn't have women's matches galore like they do now.
This was her first cage match. This was her first cage match.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, unlike the Rhea Raquel match, which went about how I expected it to, this one exceeded my expectations. This was better than I thought it was gonna be, and I loved it. So.
Yeah, they told a great story here.
Mm-hmm.
They told a story and they kept us captivated, and I think that's what really why the match worked. And of course, definitely give credit to Trish because like she's 40. What is she? 46, 47, something. She looked phenomenal, and her work was just as good as anybody like half her age, which is amazing. So definitely thank you, Trish, because that was a great match.
Well, I think because I have already recently stated on this show that I think she should main event WrestleMania with somebody.
You did. You did say that.
You did.
You did say that.
Love Trish. I think she did great. I hope we have more. I hope they have something else for her someday, but we'll see. I guess because I don't know. I don't think she'll be around for a little while. It seems.
It seems, yeah.
So let's move along. So let's go on to AEW. We have two shows that we haven't talked about, Collision and Dynamite. So Collision from September 2nd, which was the morning of where they fired CM Punk. And it was a little awkward, and Tony Khan came out there and gave his speech, his spiel about the whole thing. He even went out there and did it live in front of the crowd. In front of the Chicago crowd, which was, I guess, kind of ballsy. I mean, so they were obviously going to boo him, all the CM Punk fans. We saw the video at the beginning of the show today about, how many people love CM Punk in Chicago. But anyways, that being said, let's move on from Punk and let's see what they came up with. Ricky Starks. So Ricky Starks challenged Ricky Steamboat to a strap match, the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and which I thought was hilarious that a heel would do that, and he would have whipped him. He already did whip him. He wanted to whip him some more. He liked it. So the joke here was that Ricky Steamboat came out and Stark signed the contract for a strap match against the Dragon, but not that Dragon, this Dragon. So that was pretty cool segment, I thought, and it was nice to see Danielson come back. But damn it, hold on. I'm supposed to jump to. Hold on 1 second. I'm confusing myself.
Supposed to jump to their match.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk All Out, so I don't know if we're gonna do that now. Yeah, let's wait on that. Let's just talk about Collision for now, and let's see how their show went. And we'll talk about their match as we talk about All Out. We'll run through that real quick. So that was one thing on this show. I'm going to run through a couple of other things from this show. You don't have to comment. If you want to comment, if there's something on here that you feel it needs to throw in a comment.
I didn't watch Collision anyway, so I wouldn't have a comment on any of those.
Okay, but here are some of the angles that happened on there. So Nick Wayne, he had a match and he lost a tag team match, but he got on the mic and said that he was had trouble forgiving AR Fox like Darby Allin did, and he was kind of mad about it. Darby Allin came out and said, I did it because I had a fight with your dad and I never made up with him before he died. So, feelings galore. And then Christian comes in to crush everyone's feelings. And this time, a week after ripping on Nick Wayne's dead dad, this time he said he was going to slide into his mom's DMs.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow, Christian.
So, yeah, Christian has the most merciless lines, dude, out of anybody in wrestling, like history almost. He just goes straight for
love Christian.
You love the going after the dead dad thing, like Jesus. I wonder if there's people out there with dead fathers who are actually like, Jesus, man, that's like in bad taste.
It could be considered in bad taste, but I think Christian's a little bit old school. He knows he wants to get heat. He wants to get real heat.
Mm-hmm. That's how you get it.
That's how you get it. He wants to get heat. I mean,
well, Vlad throws up.
Or that could be debated. Oh no! Just as I was making a point.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, we got you back. We got you back. All right, but yes, Christian getting a lot of heat, I guess. I mean, is it real heat? Because people just know he's trying to say the most outrageous freaking thing he could think of. So everyone knows he doesn't really mean it. Like when MJF says something, you kind of have this feeling like he means it Although I love Christian, he speaks well. At least he's legible. You know, he's intelligent, speaks intelligently. He's not acting like he's trying real hard to remember his lines. It's smooth. I just can't really believe that he really thinks these things personally. You know, and Jim Cornette even says, like, people aren't going to believe that wrestling is real, but they could believe that you're real, and that's kind of good enough. So, I enjoy this. I think it's entertaining, but I don't believe Christian. That's all I have to say about it. But I love Christian. It's one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers, personally.
I have a quick thing that has nothing to do with Christian. Actually, my issue with this thing is actually Nick Wayne. You know, I'm kind of already tired of him, and the fact that is getting so much TV time. Oh, am I stuck again?
No, we can hear you.
No,
Go ahead.
Looks like. Can you hear me, guys? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go on, Vlad.
You can?
You're back now. We heard that you're tired of Nick Wayne, that he's getting too much of a push just for being a brand
so much TV.
kid.
Yeah, I mean, why is he getting so much TV time? I know he had this interesting sort of backstory, but really, is there any reason that he's on all these shows outside of the fact that he's friends with Darby? I mean, there's guys that they could have actually get TV time that are not 18 years old, and this guy should be in developmental and he should be training to become a wrestler. He should be on these main shows, you know, kind of looking amateurish, and that's my only thing I want to say about this whole thing with Nick Wayne.
But he's like Nick. He's Tony Khan's type of wrestler. He could do everything that these guys do, so he's serviceable for Tony Khan.
I'm sure there's 30, 40 other guys that are currently in Ring of Honor that probably could do the same things he's doing.
Sure.
If not better.
Oh, so you just don't like that he's skipping the line. Is that it?
I mean, all of a sudden he just brought in and he's getting like this crazy amount of TV time. I'm not saying that in the future he won't deserve it, or he won't, you know, whatever. But right now, this seems like not a good idea for me. It just rubs me the wrong way a little bit.
All right, I got you. We'll talk more about him in a bit when Dynamite comes up. But let's talk about what was going on next. The next thing Claudio. Claudio was beating on Wheeler backstage.
Oh my god.
Well, because he was telling Eddie Kingston, like, you think it's such a big deal to beat up Wheeler Yuta? Like, we beat him up every day for fun, and he gets back up. So they were gonna have a match with Kingston and Shibata, which was at All Out, which we're probably not gonna talk about. I'm just going through what the angles were, but I didn't really care about that match. Dennis Rodman came, former NWO member.
For real?
Yeah, and Jeff Jarrett was there trying to get him to join their group, but that didn't happen. It ended up being that Rodman was going to be in the Acclaimed's corner against Jeff Jarrett's crew at All Out, the pre-show. So if you didn't see the pre-show, you didn't get to see Dennis Rodman. But hey, Vlad, you might remember this because Jeff Jarrett was saying him and Rodzilla were in the NWO together. Like,
no,
I don't.
Never.
Right? I don't think so. I think
not at the same time.
That was an incorrect statement. Yeah, they were both in the NWO, but they were never in it together.
Yeah. No, never together. Jarrett joined later when they reformed it in 2000.
I know, yeah. That's why I was like, dude, you guys weren't in the NWO together, but they were acting. Jeff Jarrett was acting like it. Love Jeff Jarrett. Yeah. He's my favorite wrestler, if you didn't know that, Robert. But his AEW run has been kind of whatever, except for that.
I mean, what? It's been a disaster. It's been a disaster of epic proportions.
Well, not any more of a disaster than everyone else's wrestling, really. But he had one. They had.
Oh man,
they had one.
It was some of the worst.
They had one perfect match with the Acclaimed on Rampage once, which was the best Rampage match other than Christian versus Kenny Omega. But they popped the crowd so hard. It was just a good match. It wasn't even like anything crazy, but just basic wrestling psychology. That was the one success of Jeff Jarrett in AEW. But we don't have to dwell on him.
Sure.
You know, let's not. But this is just another thing that happened. And, Saraya called Chris Statlander a stupid bitch, which...
Did she? I didn't remember. Did she actually say that?
She did. You want to hear it?
No, I believe you.
Let's see if it'll come through on the audio.
you stupid bitch. She'll see you tomorrow.
I must have missed this.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't watch it, so that's new to me.
Anyways, so that was Collision. So that was the night before All Out, the All Out pay-per-view, which is a week after All In, and we're like so tired of wrestling at this point. I don't know, but it happened, and we got to talk about it. So let's go at it. What happened at All Out? Let's talk about. As my computer loads, Vlad will make a funny face. Okay, so it started with MJF versus Adam Cole defending the Ring of Honor titles against Jobbers, the Dark Order. Okay, there they are. There's the Dark Order. If you guys don't know what they look like, but so this was obviously going to be a win for them for the ROH Tag Team titles. But the storyline here, there is an angle that they're trying to further is MJF's neck injury, which is from All In. But he's really having trouble with it. He actually ends up leaving the match and coming back. And they do end up hitting the double clothesline and winning. But the story of the match is Samoa Joe disrespecting MJF afterwards. And that was a callback to NXT. I don't know if you know that, Robert. But
I know. Yeah, I know.
I did see that before. I kind of had to be reminded of it to remember why.
I had to be reminded of it too, but I did remember seeing that before. Yeah.
Yes. So MJF couldn't hold back, and this ended up turning into a feud. So this is we're gonna talk about this more on our Dynamite review after this, but this is like such a good idea. MJF versus Joe. Mm-hmm. This is like. Absolutely. Somebody came up with this, and they hit the nail on the head, to be honest. But let's move along, because we're going to get to that in a little bit. They had a hot segment on Dynamite that I'm excited to talk about. But I did mention that Danielson saved the show, because he stepped in for, this was supposedly supposed to be CM Punk's spot, but he faced Ricky Starks in a strap match. And it was a really bloody, gory match. It looked good. Ricky Starks did well, right, Vlad?
Exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Danielson ended up winning, but good work, great work. This was probably the match of the night. Would you say it was the match of the night, Vlad?
I would say it's the match of the night. It was my favorite match of the night. I know some people also liked Takeshi and Omega. I think this was a bit better, and it was more of the type of wrestling that I like now, in the sense that it was a gimmick match, but it was also kind of a believable gimmick match. Now, somebody could say, well, they didn't really have any feud. I understand that this was thrown together at the last minute because of the Punk situation, but as far as just a match and how well both guys did, it was phenomenal. I mean, it was just a great, entertaining match. But it's not really that surprising, because Danielson's one of the best workers of all time, and I think Starks is extremely talented. If they just let him loose and let him go, he's exceptional talent. So, the limit for him, I think. This was the match of the night for me.
Robert, did you enjoy this match?
Yes. So a couple things. I did mention already that I didn't watch Collision, so I didn't even know this match was happening, and I didn't see the updated card. I didn't see the updated card before I started watching the pay-per-view. So when I saw Danielson appear, I was like, what? I was legit shocked. Like, wait a minute, I had no idea this was happening, and I obviously I was really overjoyed about this, because I love Bryan Danielson. I think he's awesome. The match was fantastic, and I feel like even with this loss, Ricky Starks still looks really, really strong. His stock did not go down with this loss. They made him look really good. So I think I think that he has a really bright future. So can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, you mentioning that they made that match on Collision and that you didn't have time to watch it, dude. That's been an issue for me too. Like when All In London happened, I had been out drinking the night before, and I didn't watch Collision, and I didn't have time to, and I woke up at 9 a.m. to watch the show, and I had to watch Collision real quick. Like I just kind of forward through it to see what, and that's where they made that Jack Perry versus Jungle
Hook match.
Hook match. Yeah, Jack Perry versus Jungle Boy. Yeah, Jack Perry versus Hook. But yeah, that's an issue, man. Saturday's kind of too close to Sunday. You know, it's asking people a lot to watch all this wrestling.
That's true, but that also Collision was on at the same time as Payback. I wasn't gonna watch both shows.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So the other highlight of the night was Kenny Omega versus Takeshita. Let me get an image of Takeshita up here for our visual YouTube viewers. But yes, so this was I think a lot of people were impressed with Takeshita here, and he ended up getting the win. And just winning clean, you know, put him over, put Takeshita over, and I don't know. Robert, you want to give some thoughts about this match?
Oh yeah, I have quite a few thoughts on this.
Okay.
One thing I want to point out, there were two occasions during this match where Takeshita hit Sami Zayn's Haluva kick. One happened in the ring, and the other time happened outside of it. In both instances, the commentator responded to that move by saying, "That's a hell of a kick." Both times, and I'm like, really? Wow.
Dude, that flew right over my head, dude.
It flew over your head? I was like,
right over my head.
Way to be subtle, guys. Way to be subtle. So yeah, I just thought I should point that out. The match was really good, I thought, and I think I'm a bigger Kenny Omega fan than both of you. So there is one thing that really struck me about the fact that Takeshita even won this match. I thought it was actually really significant for him because I watched Kenny Omega since when he was in New Japan, and like when it comes to singles competitions back there and AEW, he almost never loses, and when he does, it's to people that are already like established superstars or wrestlers that the wrestling community views as like top guys. Like he'll lose to Jericho, he'll lose to I don't remember if he lost to Moxley, but he'll lose to like
he lost to Pac once.
Okay, he lost Pac. All right, so that's an exception. But he lost to Danielson. He lost to what's that guy that Chris Jericho fought in Allin? I forgot his name already.
Ospreay.
He lost to Ospreay. Will Ospreay. So he almost never loses when it comes to singles competition. And the last time that I can remember where he lost to like a rising star or someone that was on the rise was way back in probably 2018 maybe or 2019 when he was in New Japan, and that was against Jay White when Jay White was on the rise. So like something like this is very rare. So I think he must really think a lot, very, very highly of Takeshita, or maybe the upper management does, or maybe with Kenny Omega and all of AEW does, and they see a lot of upside on this guy. And so I think that speaks volumes on how they view Takeshita. So I think this is very huge for him.
Dude, everybody is high on Takeshita, right, Vlad?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much a lot of what Robert just said. I think as far as the Japanese guys that have come from New Japan or from just Japan or these other companies, Takeshita's been the best of the bunch by a mile. Like he's really good, and I think I mean, I don't know. I think his style is made this match really kind of interesting for me, because I think Omega wants to do a lot of the high spots where there was some of that, but there wasn't a crazy amount. And that's what it actually ended up being, a really solid kind of match. And I don't know if that's a credit to Takeshita or a credit to Omega just kind of toning this style down and not doing everything that he usually does, in his matches. So either way, I liked it. I enjoyed it. And I agree with Robert that this could be a thing that really pushes this guy quite far in that company, and I think it's he's kind of deserving. He's been one of the more interesting projects, I would say, that they've had. So I'm interested where he goes and what happens to him, for sure.
Dude, I think this is perfect. I think he's like on the rise to be like a big, big star, and I think they got Don Callis with them because he can't talk, obviously.
Right, which is
so
fair.
yeah, it's gonna work. This is gonna work smooth. This is like a slam dunk. Don Callis with Takeshi, they're gonna be together for a long time, I think. So.
Well, let's hope. This is AEW. You never know. But yes, I agree. In principle, it works just like a classic heel would work. That doesn't have he can't really speak English that well. But hey, you have this heel manager that can talk your ear off. So
Yeah.
it works that way.
I'm glad he's with Don Callis right now, but I also think they need to at least give him his own theme music.
Oh well, yeah.
Because what he has right now is not working.
That's the Don Callis family theme music.
Music, yeah, which is just like that one awful note of this gloomy vampire music.
Come on, they gotta give him something else, man.
Yeah,
no, man,
I agree.
It's good.
The theme could be a little bit more captivating, but
All right, moving along. I'm gonna skip Bullet Club Gold versus the Bucks and FTR, just because I don't think it's a significant match when they have these 8-man tags that are not for anything. Didn't really further anything. Do you know who won, Vlad? Bullet Club Gold won, right?
Bullet Club Gold won, yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm sure if you guys enjoyed it, good for you. I honestly went to the bathroom and I didn't rewind it afterwards.
Okay.
You went to the bathroom and you didn't come back, huh? You just stayed there until it was over.
What we will talk about, though, is Powerhouse Hobbs against Miro, baby. So Miro is back, and this was his first big match in a long time. And how did this match go? I mean, I know they botched the finish here. Hobbs kind of tapped out before he didn't even have it cinched in. But the story of this match, I thought it was a solid match. The crowd was like really into it, and it was better than I expected it to be. I think the crowd made the match, and it was fine. It was more than fine. And then the ending was supposed to be that Hobbs was going to shake his hand and give him respect. And I thought this was going to be a good ending, to be honest. And I thought that would have been fine to leave it right there. But nope, Hobbs, it was a swerve. And then he's going to do the beatdown on him. And then we got the surprise first appearance of the much talked about Miro's hot, flexible wife that distracts him from his focus. And I guess her name is what, CJ Perry now? That's her real name?
Yeah, her real name, yeah.
Her real name.
So she came out and she had her, she did that Jeff Hardy thing where she's supposed to save someone, but, poses on the ramp instead. Jeff Hardy, when he first appeared in AEW, he was supposed to save Matt Hardy, and he came in and did his little dance.
That's cool.
But, okay, Hobbs knows she's behind him, but he's not going to look behind him, I guess, so okay. And this turned the tide, and Miro that turned the tide to have Miro kind of take control. And but he didn't want to be with his wife, right? He took off. He left. He's like, "You're not real," and he just walked away from her. So that's the short of it, right? Which I think is a good idea because he's been on a good roll. Okay, he just got a big win, and we don't need any distractions now because we all know that a woman like that will keep you up all night. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get some rest. You got a big match coming up. So, I don't know where this is going, really.
It's going off the
edge. But anybody have any thoughts about Miro?
That was the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen in wrestling. Like nobody walks away from her. Come on, guys.
I agree with that. I thought true. That was a really good. I'll just say real quick, it was a good match. I thought it was, like you said, better than I thought it was going to be. Just two big guys. I think the crowd was really into this match more than I think a lot of the matches, honestly. And I'm a fan of both guys, honestly. Willie Hobbs and Miro are two potential guys that can really, if AEW is smart, they would push both guys because they both have star potential. especially Hobbs, who's younger, obviously, of the two. So for sure.
All right. Yes, me too. I think Powerhouse Hobbs is cool. I like Powerhouse Hobbs. I like Miro too. See where it goes. Let's see where it goes. So Ruby Soho was trying to get the TBS title off of Chris Statlander, but this is the end of Toni Storm in the Outcast because she took the spray can away. It cost her the match. And Toni Storm, who we've been absolutely lauding on this show, is better off on her own. I think we all can agree. So that's what this match was. There was no title change, and I think that's a good idea. I think you guys agree. So I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
From this match, the last thing from All Out was Christian keeping the TNT title as he helped Luchasaurus win against Darby Allin. So he was gonna hit Nick Wayne with the concerto. And that was enough of a distraction to finish the match off. There was a lot of violence. Obviously Darby Allin takes a lot of damage, a lot of for real damage in his matches. I'm not going to show them, but yeah, if you want to go back and watch the match, you want to see Darby Allin get mangled, like he always does. I don't know. I think I like the idea of Christian keeping that title. So I like that storyline. I think that has more juice they could squeeze out of it. So I like it. So I think it was a good booking, personally.
Orange Cassidy would have kicked out of that.
Definitely. Well, that's Orange Cassidy, dude. Orange Cassidy's on a different level. You can't compare. Okay.
Orange Cassidy is like a Hulk Hogan 1987 run that he only got beat by mistake. So he's like the Road Warriors and Hulk Hogan mixed into one. He's unbelievable. But as far
as he should fight for the world title.
Oh, he will. Don't worry. Don't worry. He's gonna win. He's gonna beat Ric Flair's record. Ric Flair's record of all titles wins before his career is over.
Vlad. Okay, hold on.
That would be hilarious.
Who are you and what have you done with Vlad? I can't believe I'm hearing this from you.
He doesn't want that to happen. He's just saying it will happen.
Exactly. Kayhan took the words out of my mouth. I'm not saying this is something that I would do myself. In fact, I wouldn't have this guy on the show, but it's something that will happen.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yes, exactly. And I agree with you pretty much on everything you said about the Christian and Darby situation. I think the booking is fine there.
All right, so that was All Out. Okay, we're done. We're racing through this week. All right, we got all kinds of stuff. So we only got like a handful more topics to go. We got Dynamite. So this Dynamite was from September 6th, Wednesday. So they've had some time since the whole CM Punk thing has happened. So it's kind of blown over a bit, and now they can get back to business. And we're gonna jump straight into the hot angle from All Out that happened. Was MJF came out and addressed Samoa Joe, disrespecting him again. But this time he's not a little kid on NXT. He's the champion, and Samoa Joe immediately came out once his name was mentioned, and they got into an epic bagging contest, like a la the one that MJF had with CM Punk. And this show started off really bad. Like I skipped what was the opening matches, right? It was Moxley versus somebody, right, for the international title. I can't even remember who. And there was another match that I can't even remember.
I don't think I even took the notes. I was hoping that you would have them.
I don't think it was worth writing down. But
exactly.
This was 45 minutes in, and this was the first good thing that happened on the show. But this was so good. Like, this was so good. This made me like happy. I thought this was like perfect direction to go in. It would have been nicer, Robert, if Samoa Joe beat Punk at All In. Like if they could have like called an audible right there, like, oh fuck, Punk is gonna be gone for a while, let's just make him lose, and because if he beat Punk, then this would be like a perfect feud. Samoa Joe coming in for the world title. But regardless, he's the best guy for the job at the moment. I didn't write down all the bags word for word, but they kind of went at each other. So Joe had his, MJF had his. All you guys can go back and watch it if you want to. A lot of stuff about Joe being fat. A lot of stuff about small penises, and MJF was very offended about being called a kid, and he was still had it in his heart about what happened on NXT, and they mentioned that he got pushed the same way and disrespected. So, like we were saying earlier, talking about if AEW will survive without Punk, this to me was like, damn, this kind of saved their ass. I was like, shit, yes, okay, I like this. Vlad, you want to give some thoughts about the upcoming MJF Samoa Joe feud? Are you excited about this?
Well, yeah, in a sense, of course I am, because
Hell yeah,
I'm a fan of both guys. Extremely. I've been following Joe for a long time. I mean, going back to his TNA days, I think I've always been a fan of his work. Always. He's just a serious, badass-looking guy. There's no other way to say it. He plays the part well. He's really smooth on the mic. He's like a complete pro, and he knows what he's doing in there. He knows what he's doing. He's the perfect person to feud with MJF. Actually, after all the silliness that MJF's kind of been involved in, this is like a serious, kind of hot, juicy angle. And I think Joe's one of the few guys in the company that could, do that. And obviously, I think MJF is a generational talent, like he says. I believe that as well. So this is great. This is great.
Robert, how do you feel about this segment?
Oh, I love this. It was fantastic, and I think I was thinking like, wow, this segment is really going on for a while, because usually there's commercial breaks and stuff. I think this segment, I don't know how long it lasted, but it went on for quite a while without any commercial breaks. And I'm glad it did, because this was very entertaining. And I'm loving this feud, even though it just started right now. But the only downside for me is I think this feud, this angle, is overshadowing the elimination tournament. That's supposed to take place. For the who's gonna face MJF for the title. I think it's now pretty obvious, right? Like,
that's true.
Yeah, it kind of takes the drama away from that. It's pretty obvious who should be the winner and who should go on to face MJF. Like, why even bother? Too bad for Roderick Strong.
I don't know if I'm so sure about that. I don't know if I'm so sure about. I think Roderick still has a chance, because I think that
I don't think so, but okay.
I think that there's a storyline there too. So, but we'll talk about that in a minute, because that's the other thing on this show that I really, really liked, was the Roderick Strong stuff. But this turned into a fight. They got down. These guys and MJF got beat up real bad, and got his neck damaged more. He said he couldn't feel his left arm when the paramedics came out and everything. Oh, excuse me. Let me make this bigger. My bad. So Joe did some great heel work at the end when he was laughing at him on the entrance ramp, telling him he just looked like a monster. He was like the awful mean monster guy. And I give this segment like a freaking A, man. This segment was really good.
Yeah.
So moving along. So I'm not going through Dynamite like I usually do segment for segment, but just whatever I thought was interesting. Roderick Strong with his glasses and his neck brace, dude. Like, he's so hilarious. This thing is freaking hilarious. Oh, this was him at the match. So he takes off the neck brace, and he's pissed off that Adam Cole cares about MJF's neck and not his. Like, my neck is not okay either, man. Like, they bumped into each other on the entrance ramp. But they had this match against Trent, and it was a good match. I think the storyline is pretty funny. With he looks fantastic. Like, he looks perfect. There's like nothing wrong with his neck. And then when he wins the match, his friends put the neck brace back on him.
He won this match with a broken freaking neck.
Pretty much. I disagree with you, Robert. I think he's gonna win this tournament. I don't know. I
really think there's a chance for him?
I think he's gonna win it, and I think Joe and MJF will fight just because they don't like each other. So they could still have that match without Joe winning the tournament. But Roderick has to win this tournament. So
because Roderick's beef is more, or at the moment it looks like it's more towards
Adam Cole.
I
Well,
would say so. So I don't know. I think it's pretty much a shoe-in for Samoa Joe to win.
okay. All right.
The funny thing, real quick, the funny thing is about Roderick's broken neck or his neck brace is that he got that in the match with Samoa Joe. And then I think me and both Kayhan said that when Joe did the move, like he did his finisher, the muscle bust, or I forgot what it was, but it was like a move where he planted him on the chair and he completely missed the chair during the move. So the fact that he's selling this broken neck for like the past like 3 months is kind of ridiculous because he missed he missed the chair completely. So anyways, yeah.
I don't know. There's certain times where ridiculous comedy really gets to me. This is one of those times. Like, I don't have a picture of it, but there was a graphic where they were showing it's going to be Roderick Strong versus Trent. And they showed Roderick's picture is him with the fucking nerdy-ass glasses and the neck brace. Even on the promo pictures. I don't know, man. This is really getting to me. And every time he yells out, Adam! Adam!
I don't know. It's a little. It's all right. It's all right. I'm not. I don't love it like Kayhan, but I'm not. I don't. It's.
So,
it could be kind of growing on me.
Hold on. So Vlad, what about you? Do you think Roderick might win this elimination tournament?
No, I think Samoa Joe is going to win the tournament, but I think that would make more sense.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right. Couple more angles and we're done here. Long show. We're an hour and a half in, but we're almost done. So Toni Storm, we always have to mention because, like, man, she's just, dude, her look. She's like from every single angle. She's like photogenic. She's like one of the few girls with like a personality, and she's just awesome, man. Like, I can't like get enough of her personally. I think she's like been hitting it out of the ballpark. But we've been saying this for weeks. For anyone who hasn't been watching our show, but she's just she's really something to watch. I don't know, there's something special about her, I think. So unless anyone wants to add something.
Yeah, I mean her promos are great. She has that crazy. She's mastered that kind of weird, crazy look down. Like she's got it figured out. I don't know. It just seems. Look at it here. Like the faces that she makes are fantastic. Like, I don't know. Anyways, she's on top of her game with these backstage promos. I mean, and of course, I think she's also one of the better in-ring wrestlers for the women as well. So it's just, she's a total package.
True. Robert, if you have nothing to add, I will move on. What do you think?
That entertaining as usual. That's pretty much it.
So this was the one other segment that came out of left field that I really enjoyed on this show was Hangman Page coming out. Being a babyface, he donated what he won in that Battle Royal in the All-In pre-show to charity or whatever, to Chicago Education Fund. And Swerve Strickland comes out like a heel. And I liked his premise here. His premise was like, dude, you don't even look like you're trying. You look like tubby. Like, look at your stomach here, you look like you've been eating well with that new contract. And he's like, I'm out for your spot, bro. I want to take your spot because you're acting like you don't even want it. And I want it. So I thought this was perfect. I really enjoyed this too, man. And him roasting Hangman Page. Him roasting Hangman Page. And we all know Hangman Page has like depression and, alcoholism issues and stuff. And he got flustered. He was like, oh, I don't need to listen to this. I'm leaving. I'm like, yeah, typical, huh? It's too much for him to handle. Someone's spitting the truth at him. So this, I think, is really good. I mean, for what it is, these guys are not fighting for any title or anything, but I think this is like a solid idea for a feud, personally. If you disagree with me or you agree with me, Robert, do you have any thoughts about this?
So, yes. So I kind of want to rewind back a couple of years, way back when Adam Page was about to fight Kenny Omega for the title. There was a segment that they had. I think it was. I don't remember. I think it was like a contract signing. I remember they were sitting in a table. They were both sitting down in a table. Kenny Omega said something that really stood out to me. He said to Hangman Adam Page, all of this, and when he says this, he means like AEW. All of this was built for you. but you didn't want it or something like that. So something to that effect. And I remember when Kenny Omega said that to Hangman Adam Page, in my mind I was thinking, wait, really? Is this actually true, or is Kenny Omega just making this up to kind of build an angle towards their feud, their upcoming match? I wasn't quite sure. I didn't really believe it because to me, I remember when AEW first started, they had like an elimination elimination tournament style thing that going on that ended up with Hangman Adam Page and Chris Jericho in the finals, and Chris Jericho won and ended up being the first AEW champion. So Chris Jericho was the first champion. And number two, the other second point that I want to bring out is that Kenny Omega was always the bigger star over Hangman Adam Page. So it didn't make sense to me that when Kenny said that to him, that AEW was built for Adam Page to be the guy. But Adam Page threw it away with basically his problems or his alcoholism, or just didn't want it bad enough. So Swerve's promo for me reminded me of that line that Kenny Omega said to Hangman Adam Page all the way back a few years back. So this was kind of like a paraphrasing of what Kenny had already told him. So that's what stood out to me. And then I thought this was a good segment. Swerve was amazing as usual. I think Swerve's been always been good, and he's just continuing that right here. So I'm kind of intrigued to see where this leads.
Well, I think AEW always try to throw in some facet of real life shootness, if that's a word, into their show, even if nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. So I'm not surprised if that is true, if all this stuff with Hangman Page is true. Like, I think this is probably realistic, a little realistic.
It probably is, because they're bringing it up again. So it makes sense that maybe there is some truth to it. So, but I just remember way back when Kenny said it, I was like, are you serious? But okay, Swerve said it again, so maybe it is true.
Hey, man, I can relate to that, man. Hangman Page, he's got issues like me.
Yeah.
Vlad, I don't know if you were in love with this segment like I was. What do you think?
No, I wasn't, but I didn't. I'm kind of torn because I kind of the quote unquote elites. Oh no, I think am I stuck? Okay, am I? You guys hear me? Yes.
We hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was saying of the elite guys, like, that are considered the elite, I guess I think Hangman is part of that group. He is the one that kind of, when I first started watching AEW, that I was impressed with the most. So I could see something there, but how many times can they go back to the whole, well, he's a drunk and he's depressed and he's got all this.
Well, it's
they've
true.
done this throughout his whole stint. Okay, well, if it's true, you can only go to that well so many times before you're like, well, you know what? Why am I going to root for this depressive drunk? He's just not going to do anything anyways. At the end of the day, he's not.
Yeah, that's insulting, but.
Oh,
well,
I mean, I think, okay.
I mean, how many times can you be a depressive drunk and be like, and just that's the angle they're going with,
The guy has these depression issues, man. He's on meds.
Well, I
okay, but is that what you want in your pro wrestler, to be like this? A kind of a badass cowboy, to be this depressive, drunken, stumbling, mumbling type of guy? No, you want him to be a badass, right? So this doesn't work for me in that sense. I mean, and they've gone to it so many times, like the thing when he was doing with the Young Bucks and Kenny, and he couldn't decide, and then he helped like FTR win a match or something. There was just like all this weird stuff that he's been involved in. And he's always it leads to him being a drunk depressive case, which I understand if that's like his real thing, but I don't know if that's like, and if that is his real thing. Of course, that's something. Mental health is a big thing in society, but I'm just saying I don't think that applies to wrestling, like to be like an impactful face. And with Swerve, I mean, I try to like him, but his matches I just hate his style so much. I just don't like the style at all that he wrestles. The way he wrestles is too indie for me. And I know there are people that do like him. I'm just not. I don't like his style. I think he's pretty good on the mic. He has some moments where he is good, but I can't really get on board with this feud because of the people involved. That's it. That's what I got.
Well, dude, the thing you were saying about Hangman Page being a depressive case, and that's not what you want your wrestlers to be, but that is like the new age wrestling thing, especially in AEW. Like, a lot of these guys are very emotional. It's all about, like, oh, you're not my friend. You know, we were friends, man. How could you do this to me? I thought you were my friend. You know, the old days of the toxic macho masculinity is, like, kind of over. I think the writers of the show, whoever they are, the bookers, they think the fans are regular people who have regular problems, and they want characters out there that they could relate to.
I disagree that's what you should want to push for in your wrestling. You should push for guys to be
badasses. Well, they just fired Pat, the guy who was trying to be a badass in the back. So that's not the thing anymore, man. The thing is, it's about going to a therapist, dealing with your emotions in a healthy way.
Wait, you want to be reminded of this when you watch pro wrestling? No, nobody wants to be thinking about their own problems and having some connection with Adam Page. Yeah, like you said, like, oh, Adam Page, he's a drunk, and I drink. Oh, and I get depressed like he does. Well, yeah, sure, but do you want to be thinking about that when you watch when you're watching wrestling? No, you don't want to be thinking about this. Why would you want to be thinking about this?
No, okay. So my response to that is, I think seeing a depressive drunk get a victory, they probably live vicariously through that, wrestler. They see that as they see that person get a win, they also get a win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah, I'm with Robert, Vlad. I'm kind of with Robert. I'm not so in hatred of this.
He's the hero to all the alcoholic depressive drugs.
Yeah.
Hey, why not? Why not? If it works,
he can do it. Why can't I do it?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, exactly, look, Vlad.
I'm not going to argue that point. I think it's a fair point. I personally don't like it, but I like I said, it's not that I hate Adam Page, because like I said, when I first started watching AEW, I thought he was a guy that had a lot of good potential, but he showed nothing of that since for a while now. So I think the criticism that he got from Swerve was probably on point and as a shoot, but the people involved kind of keeps me from like really being invested in this thing. I want to, but I know it's not going to end up being anything that great because, like I said, I mean, I haven't seen anything that great from Swerve and Adam Page in a long time.
All right, well, look, we got to wrap up this show. So one more thing I will mention, because there was a lot on this show that I didn't mention, because I'm gonna say how like I really liked those four things: Joe and MJF, Roderick Strong, Toni Storm, and the Swerve Hangman segment. The main event was kind of weak. It was, like Vlad said, Nick Wayne getting another big spot, on Dynamite to main event Dynamite against Darby Allin. He just loses the match, and Christian's there to screw with them afterwards and, kind of tell them that, hey, I'm around and I'm going to make sure you don't win, I guess, or whatever. So that was kind of not a sloppy ending to the show, but just not so exciting. But there was stuff on this show that really made me, like, smile. I got to tell you, because I went into it, like, not in a great mood. I was, like, not expecting anything. Probably pissed off from the day at work. And, dude, this was a weird episode where, like, some things just kind of, like, made me giggle. Like, I really genuinely giggled and had a nice time with the Joe stuff, with the Roderick Strong stuff, with his glasses, and just Swerve Strickland roasting the shit out of fucking Hangman Page, roasting the shit out of this poor suicidal guy, And I got a major kick out of all those. So I'm giving the show a B- on the tail end of losing CM Punk. I'm giving the show a B-. Did you guys have any thoughts about Dynamite? Can you give a grade? How about Vlad? Please.
Sure. I agree with you on, as we've said, the MJF Joe stuff. I think that really carried the show. The Roderick Strong stuff is growing on me, like I said. I still think it's a little bit too tongue-in-cheek and too ridiculous for words. But Roderick is if anybody knows Roddy, he is a good talent. He's a good guy. I'll give it as far as so those are the only two things that caught my eye. Everything else I didn't care for. I did not care for. So I'll give it a C. I'll give it a C plus. How about that? I'll give it a C plus.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
I'll also give it a B minus. I agree with you, Kayhan.
That's a good sign. That's a decent sign. I was expecting this whole thing to come crashing down and for the CM Punk fans to say, "I told you so." Yeah, how could you let him go? But we're gonna try to move on and live like this with CM Punkless.
I think we will survive somehow.
We'll be all right.
Oh man, poor guy, poor guy. All right, look, we're 20 minutes over. We're almost at an hour and 50 minutes. I usually try to keep these at 90 minutes just because, who's gonna listen to all this? So
somebody will.
I think we did a good job today. I think this was a nice show. So that's about it. Thank you guys for coming on today. I always appreciate having guests, or else it would just be me talking to myself or an AI. And I'd rather talk to you guys. You guys are cool.
Hey, man, I'd like to see an AI join our show and see how that works. That would be interesting.
That would be.
You know what? Maybe I'll see if I can come up with something. Okay. I'll see if that's possible.
At least for a segment. At least for one topic. That would be hilarious. Oh, man.
All right.
CM Punk AI.
God,
yeah.
yes.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Punk actually ever says anything about this, or if he's gonna keep quiet for the court case that's coming up. He's gonna try to pull his salary. But I did read a post that said he might talk soon, but I don't know how much to believe about that.
Sure.
So
yeah,
we might have that to talk about next week, hopefully. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming on. Join us on social media, Malapert_Smark. If you could find us on anything, please add us. We need some followers. And we're on all the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, whatever you could find. And then we're here on YouTube too. So thank you. If you like the show, please subscribe for more reviews in the future. We're going to keep doing this, man. We love wrestling. We're going to do this forever. Wrestling forever, baby. All right, man. Vlad, I will talk to you later. Thank you for coming on. Robert, talk to you later.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you for coming on.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.